I have stepped into a client's verbal kill zone several times. Fortunately, I survived all of them, as I have learned in most cases to respond instead of react. I remember sitting around a table with our second largest client, the large agency with which we were working, and my company owner. The agency was throwing us under the bus, leading the client to think we were incompetent. Of course, the agency was trying to hide a huge mistake they had made. My boss and I sat quietly until the innuendos, accusations, and heated statements ceased. I calmly handed everyone a copy of an email thread where we clearly communicated what we were doing, what we needed from others, and an update on deadlines. My boss and I could have angrily responded and shouted back accusations, but we had decided to respond and not react. I learned this from Christ, who gives me the power to follow his example when I find myself in those kill zones. Once, Christ was crossing a large body of water with seasoned fishermen. Suddenly, a storm descended upon them, and they began to fear for their lives. They were screaming and fighting the waves, and finally turned and screamed at Christ, "Lord, save us! We're going to drown!" And he replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the wind and the waves, and it was completely calm. Calm in the storm. What do we learn about dealing with all the storms in the workplace as we watch Christ's example? First, we should try to understand people's needs. The fishermen felt powerless. The storm was stronger than they could manage. Many of our colleagues face storms outside of work, causing them to come to work overwhelmed, scared, and exhausted. Often their strong emotions come from those outside circumstances instead of what is actually happening at work. Second, focus on what you know. Christ knew he could stop the storm at any moment. This kept him from getting caught up in the hysteria of the moment. Similarly, we need to focus on what we know about the current situation. Maybe you need to ask some questions for more detail. Maybe you have additional information to provide. Or maybe you simply need to restate the issue to cool down the situation. You don't have to respond with heated emotion. Finally, don't focus on winning. Focus on teaching. Christ could have argued with the fishermen about how they were not going to drown, but that is not productive. Instead, Christ showed them the solution. In the midst of a crisis, it is not important to win, but to lead the team to a new perspective. Christ powerfully models servant leadership, and we need to follow his example. Be calm. Be a servant leader.